For the past century, the world has been using non-renewable resources that include coal, petroleum, and natural gas. We humans have used these resources to our benefit and accelerated our society towards a technologically advanced one. As the world changed, we had opportunities to switch our energy sources to ones more clean and efficient. However, the world's extreme capitalistic economics had led to monopolies in every market, and in return, the moral decay within the system. A system that does not take into account issues like sustainability or social welfare, but instead revolves around the greed of the few in power. The establishment politics, media, and economy is controlled by lobbyists, whose interests consist of reaping the short-term benefits of money while we watch our planet being destroyed before our eyes. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases are known as greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases trap more heat within the atmosphere, therefore the overall temperature of the planet rises. But it's more complicated than this. The term we know as the runaway greenhouse effect is the reason why it is increasing at such a fast rate. First, the small temperature rise leads to more water vapor in the air, which is an even more potent greenhouse gas compared to CO2. At this temperature, the heat is melting our polar ice caps. Since 1980, 30% of the ice has permanently disappeared. Ice helps keep the Earth cool by reflecting sunlight, but once it's melted, more heat is absorbed into the ocean. Do you see a pattern? It's called positive feedback. Land masses that have been frozen for thousands of years are now melting. This permafrost layer releases ancient gases like methane, which have 25 to 100 times the potency of CO2. To add to this, the ocean absorbs most of the carbon dioxide, but now it cannot contain as much as the ocean itself heats. Since 1900, the acidification of the ocean has increased by 30%, leading to the calcification of marine organisms and stunning photosynthesis of algae, a larger producer of oxygen. This will completely disrupt the food chain, therefore destroying a huge food source for humans. Scientists predict fishless oceans by 2048. The rainforest is another carbon sink for Earth, but now that the temperature is rising, they consume less CO2 and instead release excess. In addition, 1 to 2 acres of rainforest is cleared out every second for the use of fossil fuel and livestock. Currently, animal agriculture is responsible for up to 91% of Amazon destruction. Livestock is responsible for 65% of all human-related emissions of nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas with 296 times the global warming potential of carbon dioxide, and which stays in the atmosphere for 150 years. The United Nations has agreed to keep the Earth from rising 2 degrees in temperature overall. Currently, we have used 1.9 trillion tons, and we only have 1 trillion left to use. Right now, it is projected that we will reach that mark within 21 years. So what does this mean for the future? If the temperature increased 2 degrees Celsius, the Earth would experience extreme weather conditions including floods and droughts, forest fires, and hurricanes. Also, this would increase disease, air pollution, and the forced mass migrations of about 10% of the world's population. This will ultimately lead to rising tensions when people are fighting for resources, such as clean water, land to farm, and economic stability to survive. At this rate, the overall temperature may rise 5 to 10 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Imagine how bad that is compared to the 2 degrees rise. Right now, I admit that it sounds like we're screwed if we keep up the way we're handling the situation. This is a very important time in history, and there's a small window of opportunity for us to reverse climate change. I'm here to present to you how we can start. The first step is a need for a mass political revolution, one that encourages environmental, social, and economic consciousness. There happens to be one going on right now. Bernie Sanders, the 2016 presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, is leading the movement. This is a once-in-a-lifetime candidate who wants to take serious action to transform our energy to a clean and sustainable one. Bernie Sanders currently has legislation in place to carbon tax industries. What is a carbon tax, you say? Well, let's listen to my Australian friend to explain the carbon tax.
How the price on carbon pollution works in around 2 minutes. This is the critical decade for tackling climate change. The science tells us we must act now or face even greater risks of extreme weather in Australia, like more intense storms, bigger floods, and more severe bushfires. Putting a price on carbon pollution is the first step. Here's how it works in 5 simple points. It's like how we manage interest rates. We have an independent body, the Reserve Bank, to make decisions in the national interest rather than political interests. So, under the new plan, an independent group of experts will propose carbon reduction targets to Parliament. We'll stay in line with climate science and global action while growing our economy. The new carbon price will mean that 500 of Australia's biggest polluters finally pay for their harmful emissions. To start with, the price will be set at $23 per tonne of pollution, but in a few years' time, the price will be set by the market. Smart businesses will quickly find ways to pollute less so they pay less. Some businesses will try to pass the cost on to consumers, but now the cleaner their products, the more competitive they'll be. Half of the funds raised by the carbon price goes straight to households. In fact, 9 in 10 households will receive assistance, and people on lower incomes will receive a cash bonus on top of pension increases. The new plan invests about $13 billion to harness clean energy across Australia, from abundant resources like sunshine that lasts forever. And it creates good, clean energy jobs. Some money also goes to farmers to help manage their land in ways that cut carbon pollution. And there's funding for our environment, which will protect fragile native wildlife and ecosystems. And that's how the carbon price works in less than 2 minutes. All in all, it's a big step forward. Now, let's get on with it.
In addition, the Keep It in the Ground Act declares the banning of federal land excavation for fossil fuels. This also includes a ban of Arctic and offshore drilling. Sanders wants to ban fracking altogether. This will make America the leader in aggressively transitioning away from fossil fuels. The next step is putting in place a massive federal works program to create jobs that rebuild roads, infrastructure, new transportation, and sustainable energy. Sanders wants to make it a goal that companies improve their fuel economy to 65 miles a gallon in 2025. Besides government action, the political revolution also includes environmental consciousness. This means people have to change the way they live. Conserving energy when it comes to homes is currently a problem. Taking action to save energy not only benefits the planet, but also your wallet. Using fuel-efficient cars, taking public transportation, or riding your bike will make a major impact in benefiting the environment as well. Recycling is also very important. Whether it be repurposing something or recreating the same product without needing new resources benefits the producers and ultimately the consumer. Lastly, if you're serious about saving the planet, going vegetarian or vegan is arguably the most important thing someone can do. We are currently growing enough food to feed 10 billion people, but 82% of starving children live in countries where food is fed to animals and the animals are eaten by Western countries. If the majority of the world went vegetarian, there is the major possibility to finally solving world hunger. The fact of the matter is, you're not only going to save those in poverty and the environment, but also your health. Most people think meat is needed in your diet because it's packed full of protein, but plants contain 15 times more protein on any given area of land rather than animals. In addition, they don't contain antibiotics, hormones, or excess saturated fats. Human anatomy has evolved to support a primarily vegetarian diet. Humans do not have the large mouth or long pointed teeth of carnivores. Human teeth are short and flat for chewing fibrous food. Carnivores have short intestines while human intestines are long to allow slower digestions of plant foods. The liver of a carnivore can detoxify the excess vitamin A absorbed from a meat-based diet. The human liver cannot detoxify excess vitamin A. Studies show that vegetarians are up to 40% less likely to develop cancer than meat eaters. The benefits of not eating meat is endless. Someone who lives a vegetarian life will live 5 to 8 years longer, and someone who lives a vegan life lives 6 to 10 years longer. In total, a person who is vegan produces the equivalent of 50% less carbon dioxide, uses 1/11th oil, 1/13th water, and 1/18th land compared to a meat lover for their food. So if you're too lazy to make an effort and save the planet, at least vote for a president who actually will.